Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. This is going to be part 11 of the 302 budget build. And in part 10, I was putting things on, and one of the things I put on was the oil pump. And one of my subscribers, Ted Corey 3054, pointed out something. I made a big mistake. I would have caught it later, but he made the comment, asked about if I may have forgot to put the oil pump dry shaft in there. And yes, I did. I forgot to put this in. I have other ones. I'm going to look through them and, pick out the best one. But it goes, no, I don't think I can show it on camera, but it goes down in the block before the oil pump goes on. And see that clip thing there? That is very important. That's got to be like right under where the distributor would be in the block. See, everything's upside down here. That's probably confusing. Let me spin it around and I can explain this better. All right, I flipped it over. Now the oil pump is down here, and this drive shaft thing goes down through the distributor hole and into the oil pump. Now this little clip on here is very important. You want to put this rod in before you put the oil pump in, and that clip keeps this rod from getting pulled out of there. Because sometimes when you pull the distributor, it's going to take this rod with it, and then it could just drop it and go clunk down at the bottom of your oil pan. And sometimes you got to lift an engine to get the oil pan off. I mean, it's bad. But the way it works is, I just got a distributor. That looks like the one that may have come out of this engine. This rod, drop these. You go in the bottom of the distributor. It's like a hex shaft, kind of like an Allen key, but straight. And that's the dry shaft that turns the oil pump. This would be in there like that. And I'm not going to be able to put it in because the clip is going to stop it from going through the block. But that's how it works, like that. And when the distributor turns, it turns the oil pump. But I didn't put that shaft in. Now, I would have found that out probably today when I went to prime the oil system. I do plan to put the timing cover and oil pan on the engine and then prime it by turning that shaft with a drill. I got to pull that shaft out of there because it's all right. And what I'm going to do is inspect the three of them that I just so happen to have here. Pick out the best one, least amount of wear. I'm going with this one. I don't see any wear at all. That might have been a new one. Okay, so this one's going in there. Now they do make some heavy duty units. They're thicker and they're supposed to resist twisting and breaking and snapping. You normally put a heavy duty one in when you have like a high volume, high pressure oil pump and there's a lot of strain on this shaft, and you stick oil and you start it when it's cold and you start revving it up. I'm going to snap that sucker. So I'm going to use the stock one, stock oil pump, stock oil pressure. It'll be fine. But I'm glad that Ted caught this, Ted Corey, because yes, I would have found this out, yes, but I probably would have found it out after I had the oil pan on, and then I'd be out an oil pan gasket. See, right now I'm only out an oil pump gasket and a little bit of time to put this in. So I'm glad he caught it, and I talked enough. It's time to install it. I gotta flip the engine over, take the oil pump off. I'm going to show you how that goes in the oil pump. Right down in there, it's a 6-sided hole. When you turn that, it's going to turn the oil pump. And the distributor turns this. The cam gear rotates the distributor gear, which drives this. So this goes in first with that little clip thing down. See, that'll stop it from going through the block. My gasket did not rip. That aviation former gasket is good stuff. I'm going to leave it alone. Now we just take and put the shaft into the oil pump like that before we bolt it up. That's all there is to it. Want to make sure that it's is indeed in there and it's in the distributor hole. It is. Okay, it's back installed. I did not put any extra red Loctite on those bolts. It seemed like there was still some there. They're in there very tight. They're grade 8 bolts, and I got them in there about as hard as I could pull on this long wrench. So they shouldn't fall out of there. I believe the timing chain cover is going to be going on next. Back you guys up so I have some room to work in there. And I have to commence my bolt search for cover because I don't have all the bolts. All right, I have the water pump sitting on the timing cover. Now there's some bolts that only bolt the water pump to the cover. Other ones pass all the way through. Look over here though. Look at the different size bolts. These two little ones go on the top here. They hold the timing cover to the block. And then you've got all these others here. They're the same size roughly. They go timing cover to the block here. They go water pump to timing cover there. Water pump to timing cover there. This one right here, it takes a special bolt. It's only one of these. Another water pump to timing cover. And another one, water pump to timing cover. Leaves us with these 4 big ones. I'm gonna go there, and a big one here. Same thing the other side, there and there. So they're all different size bolts. Makes things complicated, especially when you don't get the bolts with the engine. Now, I've had engines where all the bolts were in a box. That's okay. At least you got them. You can sort them out and figure it out as you go. But, you know, sometimes you got coarse threads and fine threads. Like these are all coarse threads. This up here to hold the fan to the water pump, those are fine threads. So you gotta be careful because you can't just jam a coarse into a fine or fine into a coarse. Something's gonna get stripped. So now that I got the bolts, I can put this on the engine. I'm cleaning up the bolts that are going in the timing cover because they were rusty and nasty. And I thought I'd check out the guide plates and see how they're going to work out for me. They're going to kind of work, but I'm going to have to modify them. If you look, these, see the guide plates in there holding things in position. But if you look, the rockers are kind of spread out. They're not setting on top of the valve head or stem evenly. So I'm going to need to slice this guide plate probably 3/4 of the way through and spread it apart. You know, open that up to get these to go more outboard. And you know, you could weld it there, or you just leave it. It's getting clamped here and here by the 7/16 rocker stud, and plus it's still going to have a bar. Now they make adjustable ones, which are coming maybe tomorrow. And what those are, probably be better just to pull up a picture of the guide plate. But the guide plate's going to have a hole, and it's going to have metal goes around, and one side's going to be shaped like that, and the other side is going to be shaped like that. So it's a slot and a hole, and you adjust them to get your rockers on the valve stems and just lock the nut down. You don't even have to weld that together because, you know, once that nut, this rocker stud is tight, they're not moving. So I got to do that. I got to modify all my guide plates. All right, so I needed to add the guide plates that I bought. I didn't estimate how much those are going to be, but they turned out to be $26.49. Okay, that's the only thing I bought since I updated this budget last time. So I'm around $875-ish, plus the $10.50. Now, something else that's not on here is the distributor. I have a few of them. You know, this is the one that came out of the engine, TFI style. If I went with my Holley Sniper system, I could use that. I also have conventional distributor, cap rotor wires, everything here ready to go on. It works. And that goes together with a MSD box. That's probably what I'm going to use to get the engine running. After I get the engine running and I put it in the car, then I have a lot of decisions to make. Because I'm going to be getting or figuring out what kind of front accessory drive, I'm going to need to drive the alternator, water pump, the power steering, and air conditioning. I'm hedging toward a serpentine setup. I don't have any of that yet, but that's here nor there. That has nothing to do with this. That has to do with the car. So for now, I'm rambling, but I'm kind of on budget because I think I have what I need now to assemble the engine and start it. I'm not going to start it today, but you know what I meant. All right, now I can finally start putting the engine timing cover together. Now the water pump comes bolted together, 4 bolts and the gasket in between there, and then you put this whole assembly on the timing cover. What I'm going to do is take this gasket and put some gasket sealer on both sides of it, just because I don't want any leaks. If I can avoid 1 or 2 or 3, I will. Just going to slap this on. Both sides. And smear it around. Just a real thin coat, but good peace of mind. Okay. This might be the type of gasket sealer that never gets hard, like it stays gooey its whole life. I'd have to read the container. I just know it's awful good stuff. And they use it on airplanes, and airplanes have a lot of strict rules and regulations because they do. So you have anything that goes on an airplane has got to be approved, and this is what they use. That goes on there like that. Stay. Wipe my hands off here. See this plate. Like that. And there's 4 bolts that held this together. Put timing cover on. Now, there is something else I need to do. Let's pop this oil seal in. Let me do that real quick here. Okay, oil seal is knocked in. Easy. Block of wood under here. Block of wood on top of there. Hammer, pounder in. Now, I glue up that gasket. Stick this on here. And when I paint the engine, I'm going to have to cover this up because I want to leave that like it is. I took all the bolts, and while I was going over the budget and the rocker arms and all that, I had all the bolts soaking in Eastwood Fast Etch. That's like crud cutter, and it leaves a phosphorus coating on the metal. Should keep them from rusting, because these aren't going to get painted. Now, there's some of these that Some of them have washers already built into the heads like that. And some I need to put washers on. Now, when I put that front accessory drive on the engine for the serpentine belt, oh, some of these bolts might have to come out to make room for the brackets to go on there. But then that bolts would have to be longer because it's going to go through a bracket and into here and all that fun stuff. All right, let me get the water pump gasket, put that on. Okay. Looks like it'd be a good time to put the oil pan on. Making sure I don't have any tools or anything in here that can fall off. Those have nuts, they'll be okay. Turn this over. I do want to trim that gasket because it's a little longer than needed. Just like that. I'm going to get my one-piece oil pan gasket, put it on the engine. Oh, folks. Guess what? I don't have all these oil pan bolts. Oh, for crap's sake. Either I'm going to have to dig through my stash or run up and get some. If I dig through the stash, they might not all match. Let's see how many I'm going to need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 18 quarter 20s and 4 5/16 by 18 or whatever the thread is on those. Coarse thread. I have to figure out how long they need to be. Now it'd be a good idea to squirt some RTV or something down in the corners here under the gasket and on the oil pan. I will when I tighten it down. I just want to measure how long the bolts are going to be with the gasket. because this has got these pan rails. Oh. So that's going to make the gasket crushed down evenly. And that's going to add a little bit of bolt length that I'm going to need. Let's see if this is the right length. So they need to be longer than that one. Shorter than this one. I'm guessing that one's 3/4 of an inch. Yep. That's 1.25 inches, so I need an inch. So I need 18 1-inch, 1/4 bolts. One-inch 5/16 bolts will work too. I'm just gonna go buy bolts. Reason being, I may have a few at 18 or 1-inch bolts. But last time I was doing something that required a bunch, I dug through my bolt box for a while to find them. And I'm just not in any mood to do that. I'm just going to go up. Tractor Supply is the best spot around here to get bolts because you buy them by the pound. If I just go up to the closest place here, to Ace Hardware, you're going to be buying them by the piece. And when I go to Tractor Supply, I'll grab some, handful of washers and, other things I need too. So I don't mind going up there to get that. Fuel pump bolts. I'm pretty sure I have something that could work there. I know I didn't get a lot accomplished today, the way it works sometimes. But this is the end of part 11, working on a 302 budget build. I just keep running into these obstacles that stop me from working on it. So, and in part 12, maybe I'll cut some of those guide plates, spread them out, show you how I do that. But thanks for watching Dan's Messy Garage. Stay tuned to my channel for more episodes. Bye.